The war of words between Moscow and NATO has taken a sharp turn. Responding to NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte's jibe that a historian is leading Russia's delegation instead of Putin, Vladimir Medinsky hit back with cutting precision. He mocked Rutte's historical knowledge, saying Ukraine didn't exist in the 12th century, a clear retort to NATO's perceived ignorance of Slavic history.
I know that Mr. Rutte studied history at university, but I would definitely send him a school textbook on medieval history, because from it, he would learn that Ukraine did not exist in the 12th century.
Russia has issued a stark warning to Ukraine: compromise or face the risk of losing more territory. In a hard-hitting interview with the Wall Street Journal, Vladimir Medinsky, President Putin's chief negotiator, likened the conflict to a quarrel between brothers, but made it clear that Moscow's patience has limits. Medinsky stressed that Russia does not seek a prolonged war. Yet if Kyiv continues to operate under foreign influence, he said, Moscow will be left with no choice but to respond decisively.
We don't want that. We want peace. But if Ukraine keeps being driven by the national interests of others, then we will be simply forced to respond.
Using a metaphor that reinforces Russia's long-standing narrative, Medinsky described Ukraine as a younger brother, caught in a misguided rivalry. He warned that the widening rift is damaging to both nations, but the consequences will fall harder on Kyiv.
This is like a conflict between two brothers, one older and one younger, about who is smarter and more important.
Even a Ukrainian drone strike on Russian strategic bombers before the talks didn't shake Russia's commitment to negotiations. Medinsky cited it as proof that Moscow remained serious about diplomacy, even under attack. Underscoring Russia's staying power, Medinsky invoked the Great Northern War with Sweden, an armed conflict that lasted 21 years. Russia can endure long wars, he said, suggesting that time is not on Ukraine's side.
With Russia, it's impossible to fight a long war. That war would go on for 21 years. We don't want that. We want peace. But if Ukraine keeps being driven by the national interests of others, then we will be simply forced to respond.
With peace still elusive, Moscow's warning carries weight. Medinsky's message was clear. Russia does not want endless war, but if Ukraine refuses to break free from external agendas, Moscow will act to defend its interests and historic legacy. As the conflict drags on, Russia's strategic patience is thinning. And with history as its guide, Moscow is signaling that the next phase of this war, if Ukraine doesn't shift course, could come at an even greater cost for Kyiv.